forecast for Tuesday, October 31st. So today we have the moon in Gemini all day, and this is definitely opening us up to be a little bit more curious, asking the right kinds of questions, being a little bit more social and communicative, because of course that Gemini energy looks outside of us in our external realm for entertainment and for stimulation. We are definitely rapidly trying to process through our heart, through our headspace, what it is that's going on around us, how it is that we're thinking and feeling about it, and what it is that we want to do from here to actually improve our situation and our circumstance. Considering the fact that we are in Scorpio season, a fixed water sign, we're doing a deep dive in our emotions, in our spiritual selves. And with the moon in Gemini energy, it's kind of helping this whole detective mode that we're in to kind of peel back the layers, if you will, asking the right questions, diving into areas of interest, really kind of searching and probing for a deeper meaning, a deeper purpose, a deeper truth. So it's going to be a very interesting day, especially seeing as we have some palpable energies taking place on this earth plane due to Halloween, or a very, let's call it supercharged, supernatural type of day, type of event. Now, regardless of how you feel about it, it doesn't really matter. Scorpio season tends to intensify the supernatural because it is where we do the shadow work, where we dive into the spiritual realm. And of course, with all the goops and goblins and ghosts and everything else in between that everybody's kind of hyped up on, the majority of the collective now open-minded to a lot of the supernatural experiences, and this is why we get a high potency day, an electricity type of day, such as today, where we can connect to the higher realms of intelligence. This is also the last day of October, which means that there's always an intensity to kind of review, to kind of hurry up and integrate the particular life lessons that, of course, October has to offer. So if you want to go back, take a listen to October's energy forecast to kind of see where it is that you are either in alignment or out of alignment with some of the energies that were thrown out at us here this month. It's definitely good to kind of gauge where it is that you're closing the month out and kind of get prepared for this new energy, this new lesson, this new vibration that, of course, November is going to bring. There is a November energy forecast out there for your listening pleasure. And of course, the zodiac forecast for November will be dropping here shortly as well. So there are 10 different aspects here today, and 9 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Gemini going to make a little bit of an awkward interaction with the sun in Scorpio energy. Now, if this was a positive aspect, we would be having an epiphany, an aha moment of sorts on bringing something new into our awareness, kind of uncovering, if you will, unearthing a blockage, a challenge, a particular truth. But this is not the most favorable interaction, which means that this is going to put us in a situation to question. Why? Because we're confused. We really require a lot of clarity. And as I previously mentioned, the Gemini energy brings the curiosity, and the Scorpio energy brings the detective type of skills, really doing a deep dive in order to find the truth, the deeper meaning, the deeper purpose. And there are aha moments and epiphanies, but kind of being illuminated with confusion, with chaos, and of course, putting us in a situation where we're a little bit suspicious. And therefore, again, putting that detective hat on, this particular energy is going to work very well for us to be asking the right kinds of questions. The moon in Gemini going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict point with the North Node in Aries energy. The North Node in Aries is trying to get us on the right path in order to kind of initiate this new truth, this new purpose, this new mission, this new quest, if you will. And because this is a semi-square, because we are creating tension and conflict, this is illumination on where it is that we're not quite sure what that path is looking like, what that mission actually is, what this greater, grander quest could actually be. And again, asking the questions, really exploring our inner realm of our emotions, of our thoughts, and picking up on the subtle energies of our intuition and of the indicators that we're getting in our external realm. The moon is then going to interact with Jupiter in a very positive way. Jupiter, of course, planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's retrograde in this Taurus energy, really helping us to examine what needs to change in our physical realm. Even more than that, the retrograde energy, it's internalizing within us, which means that we're really taking a good look at where it is that we need to stabilize our inner realm of happiness, of joy, of emotion, of thought, where it is that we have grown, where it is that we have made improvements, and what's left for us. What do we want to build from here? What do we want to move into? What do we want to start manifesting? Again, Moon in Gemini, asking a lot of questions. Curiosity is piqued, and that Jupiter energy is just magnifying all of the different possibilities, all the different paths, choices, directions that we actually have to choose from now that we've done a lot of the inner work. Venus is the only aspect here today not involving the moon. She's going to be trining with Uranus. So, of course, Venus is the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She's in Virgo energy, which is not her strongest placement to be in, but it is providing us a little bit more of a straightforward, analytical approach to sorting through our feelings. So Venus in this Virgo energy, trining. A trine is a beautiful energy. It's harmonizing the energies together in order for us to see where there is a gentle nudge in the right direction. This is with Uranus, the great awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. So we get Virgo energy, that's in Earth energy. We get Taurus energy, that's in Earth energy. And what we're getting here is a little bit of a pep in our step. Now, this is kind of triggering a little bit more of the boldness, the bravery that we need to have to kind of jump into new things, to start experimenting with new things. It's putting us in a situation to kind of come up with some more creative and innovative solutions to some of the problems that we've been sitting in. This is putting us in a situation where we're a little bit bored with the mundane tasks and roles with the same old, and we're looking for a little bit of spice, shall I say. So we're going to be a little bit more forthcoming, a little bit more interested in anything new, anything that is not the same old, especially when social situations are concerned. We're looking for fresh ideas. We're looking for fresh perspectives, if you will. And anything that's kind of strange or weird is kind of appealing to us right now. So this is going to put us in a very, I'm going to say, interesting mood and attitude where we're looking for more stimulation, we're looking for more entertainment, we're looking for more happiness, more joy, more pleasure, and we're understanding that sometimes you have to bust out of the comfort zone in order to actually find those things that are going to feel fulfilling and fill the void. So this is a time for us to be exploring our emotions, our values, what we think will make us happy and bring us a sense of joy and safety, security, and stability, and put us in a situation where we can break out of the mold in which we've been sitting in and kind of open up our minds, open up our heart spaces to alternatives. What could we be doing differently? The moon in Gemini is then going to interact with Pluto. Pluto is the great transformer. He is now direct in Capricorn energy. He is helping to push us into our power, into our authority, to take the control over our lives back, especially kind of deconstructing, if you will, the old constructs, the old systems, the old routines, the old elements that the old version of self had created, and obviously blocking us from actually breaking out of the old and moving on to the new. Now, the moon in Gemini, again, very curious, has a lot of questions. We're very, very stimulated by the outside world. Something's going to, I'm going to say, either happen or pop off in our heart space or in our head space that is going to change the game for us, change the perspective, change the way that we're seeing things, change our mood and our attitude, and change the thought process that we need to have in order to break away from the old and actually start building towards the new. So this could be, like I said, a circumstance that actually pops off in our external realm. It could be an aha moment, an epiphany popping off within us that changes the game. Or it could just be this new energy coming in, especially intensifying here on the last day of October with all of these mystical energies kind of swirling with the eclipse energy that we're still very much in. Somehow there's a major change, a major transformation taking place, not only in our perspective and the way that we're seeing things and the way that we're understanding things, but has that domino effect to really change the way that we're feeling about certain situations and circumstances. The moon in Gemini then going to interact with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, who's in his rulership in Scorpio energy. This isn't the nicest interaction, but what it's going to do for us is kind of show us where it is that we are building towards making a choice, making a decision, taking action on the things that we just know within us that we have to do. The Scorpio energy that Mars is in is very emotional, very intuitive. We just have a strong sense of knowing what needs to be done, knowing what we have to do, knowing what we have to pursue, but we're not able to take action on it as of yet. So the moon in Gemini energy, very curious about how it is that we quote unquote know these things, because again, Gemini energy kind of rules over the egoic mental plane, while the Scorpio energy is like the metaphysical realm, the soul space, if you will. And so there's a lot of curiosity on exploring the energy building towards taking action, making moves where there's no logical, practical evidence to suggest that this is just what we have to do. Instead, it's just our feelings, it's our emotions pulling us in a particular direction, either to get away from certain aspects and elements or gain closer proximity to the path and the plan that we actually need to be on. The moon is then going to interact with the sun in a very positive way. So we kind of kick the day off with a not so nice interaction between the moon and the sun. This one is a positive one, which is going to change the game for us. Of course, the moon represents our emotions, our unconscious self, very linked to the past. The sun, of course, is our life force energy, shining a bright light on what it is that we have to do in order to kind of move forward. And in Scorpio energy, it's a major change, a major transformation, especially where the shadow work is concerned, in order to unearth a lot of the unconscious blockages that we have within ourselves, in our belief system, in our inner dialogues, in our narratives, in our heart space. And so the illumination here, because it is a positive aspect, there is a gap between the overlapping of the past, of our emotions, of our intuition, with the future that the sun is shining a bright light on, where we have to change and transform our inner realm before we see those changes in our outer realm. And what's left is the overlap here in the present moment, giving us a different perspective. Yes, when we look back, we have a different perspective. We have a different understanding of why we had to go through what it is that we've gone through in order to prepare us for this particular moment. When we kind of pivot and take a look at the futuristic type of reality that we're moving into, we know in this moment what is required of us to change, to transform before we can actually get this new party started. So there's an illumination, there's an awareness coming front row center in order for us to realize what is changing within us, especially our thoughts, our perspective, our dialogue, that will essentially alter the way that we look back on certain circumstances and position us to have a much better perspective and point of view on what we have to change and transform moving forward. The moon in Gemini then going to make a awkward interaction with Mercury. Mercury rules over the Gemini energy, so this is going to be a little bit more intense than another aspect would be. Mercury, of course, is in Scorpio energy, so we're kind of getting the best of the both worlds with Mercury and Scorpio. Mercury rules over the mental plane, rules over information communication, how it is that we express ourselves, very reliant on logic and practicality, especially when it comes to kind of bringing in information, circumstances from our physical realm. But the Scorpio energy goes beyond the physical reality. It's our emotions, it's our intuition, it's our spiritual selves. It's all the things that we know without actual proof and evidence, just due to aligning with our higher self, with the higher realms of intelligence. And we're definitely able to kind of gain a lot more information by blending these particular powerhouse entities together. And therefore, we're kind of, navigating the energetic realm. We're navigating the physical realm. We're plucking different pieces and different information and details out of the actual factual evidence that our eyes can see and the, let's call it, actual factual truth or knowing that our heart space, our higher self, the higher realms of intelligence can quote unquote see. So the moon interacting with Mercury, the moon being our heart space and Mercury being our head space, in not the nicest way, is illuminating where it is that we're not on the same page. And a lot of that is, again, the Gemini energy, very material realm based, physical realm based, 3D realm based, egoic realm based. Scorpio energy, anything but all of that. So mystical realm, supernatural realm, intuitive realm, spiritual realm, all the things that we quote unquote can't see with our physical eyeballs. So this is going to illuminate for us where it is that our heart is telling us one thing, but our head is telling us the other thing. Our heart wants to rely on actual factual evidence. Our headspace is a little bit more, I'm going to say, open to just interpreting the thoughts and the feelings and the intuitive insights that we're receiving. And hopefully we can see the disconnect between the two, and we can bridge the gap and find a common place of understanding within us. The moon in Gemini goes ahead and sextiles, beautiful interaction, with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. This is a positive interaction, which means that there's a little bit of healing going on. There's a little bit of growth, especially when it comes to kind of breaking ourselves down, building ourselves up, changing the way that we're looking at ourselves, understanding the perception that we have of this new version of self. Again, we're trying to kind of shed the old skin, if you will, and really kind of emerge as this new version of self that, technically speaking, won't be in full power until the new moon in Scorpio on November 13th. But the moon interacting with Chiron in this way, we're making some improvements. We're feeling some growth. We're understanding parts of ourselves that we have essentially been looking at the wrong way, and we're looking to flip the script, the narrative, to see ourselves in a different light, a more supportive and encouraging light. And that is really going to help our overall boldness, bravery, courage, and confidence on really emerging as this new version of self. The last thing that we got going on here today is the moon in Gemini making a positive interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, who of course is in his rulership in Scorpio energy. What I love about this, first of all, we had a not so nice interaction between these two earlier on in the day, but this is a positive interaction. And what I love about this is that we're percolating on new ideas, that we're actually building some kind of intensity over, motivating, inspiring, setting ourselves up for a new path of determination and perseverance, if you will. Mars is all about just knowing what it is that we have to do, what it is that we have to pursue, what it is that we have to take action on, where it is that we need to be moving forward from here. The moon in Gemini, again, kind of curious, but also very stimulating as far as new ideas go. And yeah, they're probably going to be based more in logic and practicality based off this 3D realm. But nonetheless, it's not a bad thing, because we're using our emotions and our intuition to kind of navigate the logical, practical side of life. And we're kind of filling in those gaps, if you will, with what it is that we know within ourselves and what it is that we believe to be true. So a lot of this is just kind of coming into a new realization on what we're getting excited about, what we're getting passionate about. And again, a reminder, if you're not feeling excited and passionate, and instead you're feeling kind of, I'm going to say, frustrated and agitated, that is an equal fueling system in order to still accomplish the same thing. Of course, it's always a better time for you to be kind of tapping into the positive energies for fuel. But sometimes you need to have your back against a wall. You need to be frustrated with your current circumstances in order to light the fire, not only within your heart space, but under your ass, to get out of that situation, to make some serious moves, and really just be prepared to kind of close the door on those particular situations and circumstances, knowing that you have a much better, brighter path ahead of you.